Bernie Sanders doubling down on stupid. It's as if Bernie Sanders is intentionally trying to blow the presidential election and flush the state of Florida down the toilet bowl because he doesn't seem to care at all what people think about his support of police state murderers, tyrants, communists, and socialists. Bernie continues to double down on providing air cover for socialist regimes instead of just calling out their universal evil. I'm going to get to this. I'm not going to take too long on this because I covered it yesterday, but this is really important. I want to explain to you what's going on here. And I want to do it as objectively as possible. I know that's hard, but this is going to matter. So if you watched yesterday's show, we covered Bernie Sanders, who, when asked about why he's constantly defending socialist, murderous regimes on 60 Minutes by Anderson Cooper in a shocking moment of journalism, he says, well, they're not all bad. You know, they have literacy rate. They teach people to read. Well, before they murder them, maybe they can read. I'm not sure how that's a good thing and why you can't call that out. But Bernie Sanders has been getting destroyed on both sides of the aisle. I have a story in the show notes today by John Solomon's new website and some other ones about how bipartisan criticism has come from everywhere, including where I live in South Florida, to Bernie Sanders. Cuban exiles whose parents, whose relatives and friends have been murdered and their property has been stolen, who are here in the United States, do not want to hear lectures from a millionaire pompous loser like Bernie Sanders about the wonders of Cuba. They don't want to hear it, ladies and gentlemen. I live here, okay? I'm sorry, I live here. I hear it every day. A good friend of mine, my barber, who's a good friend of mine, I've been with him forever, is a Cuban exile. Trust me, he does not want to hear about the beauties of Cuba from Bernie Sanders, you fill in the blank. Instead of now retracting his ridiculous defense, but they teach him how to read. This is him on CNN with Chris Cuomo, doubling down. Say, truth is truth. Listen to this moron. Check this out.
To the Democrats who say, you don't say good things about Fidel Castro. He destroyed freedoms in that country. He picked winners and losers and killed them and put them in prison forever. You don't give him a pat on the back for anything.
You don't give, it's not a question. Truth is truth. All right? Now, if you want to disagree with me, if somebody wants to say that, and by the way, all of those Congress people that you mentioned just so happen to be supporting other candidates, just accidentally, no doubt. Coincidentally. But, you know, the truth is the truth. And that's what happened in the first years of the Castro regime.
Folks, truth is truth. And you know what the ultimate truth is? Death. Because when you're dead, that is in fact true. You're buried, there's no life function, you are dead. Those coffins, those dead bodies, those shallow graves will never go away. That's in fact true. Bernie Sanders' absolute refusal to call out murderous socialist regimes and to constantly provide air cover and try to put lipstick on the biggest pig of all time, socialism, a body count of hundreds of millions, is an absolute disgrace to humankind and to civilized people all over the world. Now, I have not heard a better retort yet than Matt Schlapp, conveniently runs CPAC in the ACU. Matt Schlapp was on Fox yesterday with Jason Nichols, a liberal, defending, bizarrely, again, Bernie Sanders. I don't get this guy at all. You will not hear a finer indictment of what Bernie Sanders is doing than Matt, who, by the way, his wife, Mercedes, served in the Trump administration, is Cuban, and whose father had their property stolen in the tyrannical, murderous Cuban regime. Listen to Matt Schlapp and listen to how he wraps this up at the end. You will not hear a finer call out on the disastrous, murderous socialist regime than this. Check this out.
Bernie Sanders also traveled to the Soviet Union. He's had wonderful things to say about the youth program in the Soviet Union and you know, their public libraries and such. It's all balderdash. Let's face it, this issue of Castro is near and dear to my heart. Fidel Castro put my father-in-law in prison, stole a decade of his life. Let me tell you what the literacy program is under Castro's Cuba. It is learning how to say, don't shoot me, because that's what they did to thousands and thousands of people. That's what they continue to do. They stole every one of the pieces of property that my father-in-law owned. This is what socialism leads to. It leads to undermining the individual human rights, which we cherish in America, and we should never take even just one half step towards these disgusting regimes.
I have nothing to add. That rarely happens.
You just heard The Dan Bongino Show. You can also get Dan's podcasts on iTunes or SoundCloud. And follow Dan on Twitter 24/7 @DBongino.